welcome everyone to the live stream, and also those of you that are in the room to the Dr. May Owen Board Room. Dr. May Owen was a member of the first Board of Trustees for this institution, and she served this college for decades. And as I understand from Dr. Bill Lace, one of the conditions for her to consider even serving on this board was that she would never be called on to make a speech. So I think she was also a very smart woman, tough negotiator. So staff is going to be planning an inaugural opening in the coming months where we'll share much more about her contributions to the college and celebrate her as well. So before I call this meeting to order of the Tarrant County College Board of Trustees, I'm going to read this declaration. On March the 13th, 2020, Governor Greg Abbott issued a declaration of emergency as a result of the COVID-19 virus outbreak. Subsequently, on March 16, 2020, pursuant to the authority granted in the declaration, Governor Abbott temporarily suspended the application of certain provisions of the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, in order to permit telephonic open meetings. This was an effort to mitigate the spread of the COVID-19 virus by avoiding large group meetings while still ensuring continued governmental operations and preserving transparency in the decision-making process. Pursuant to this authority, Tarrant County College District gave notice of its intent to conduct today's board meeting as a telephonic and video conference open meeting. 5 trustees will participate in person for this meeting: Mr. Kenneth Barr, Mr. William Greenhill, Mr. Leonard Hornsby, Ms. Jeannie DeKine, and myself, Teresa Ayala. Dr. Gwendolyn Morrison and Ms. Shannon Wood will participate via video conference or telephonically. So we have a quorum present, so I will now call the monthly meeting of the Tarrant County College District Board of Trustees for August 19, 2021 to order at 6:05 p.m. Okay, we'll go on to the next item on the agenda, public comments and special presentations. Mr. Gates? None. Okay, thank you. Next item is board business items and announcements. We'll start out with 3A, approval of June 10, 2021 work session meeting minutes.
I move for approval.
Okay, by Mr. Greenhill, second? Anyone?
Second.
Second by Ms. DeKine. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. So we'll go on to the next item, which is approval of the, June 17th, 2021 Board of Trustees meeting minutes. I need
I make a motion to approve.
motion to approve from Mr. Greenhill.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barr. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll go on to trustee activities. I think we'll start over here in the room, and then we'll go on to Dr. Morrison and Ms. Wood. Mr. Greenhill, would you like to start, please?
Yes, I would. Trustee Ayala, our president, asked me to bring to our attention a recent article that was published in the education lab portion of the Dallas Morning News. It was entitled, "Stay the Course Navigators Help TCC Students Persevere with Personalized Assistance." It was a really great article. It started out by one of the persons who was navigated, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson was participating in the Fort Worth Catholic Charities Stay in the Course program, which partners with community colleges as well as TCC with college students as navigators to help them with assistance ranging from paying non-academic needs to frequent check-ins. The Stay the Course program was launched in this campus, the Trinity campus, in 2013 in partnership with the Catholic Charities of Fort Worth and the Wilson Sheehan Lab for Opportunities at Notre Dame University. The program, as I said, takes aim to take down barriers that often trip students on their college journey. lack of child care, unreliable transportation, and working while going to school. And there's a picture of our president of Kenya, Iris Palomore, the president on Northwest Campus. She was in the article. It's a lovely photograph with a student, I believe at our graduation ceremony. It was it's a very lovely, I'm sorry she's not here to see her glory. But anyway, I believe that this program is one of many programs that our foundation and TCC have to assist our students in breaking down barriers. I'm sure that all of us agree that, all of us agree that this is something that, other than education, of what it's all about. And what I really enjoy about personally as being a trustee of Tarrant County College, helping people to succeed. Ms. Johnson noted in the article that the program never made her feel like she was a charity case, but gave her a sense of, and I'm going to emphasize this, community, of having someone she could lean on when in need. Community is the big word, community college. Ms. Johnson did graduate from TCC, and she's continuing her education at UNT. That's my presentation, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Greenhill. We appreciate that. That's an excellent program. Mr. Barr?
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. I'd like for the board to take just a moment to acknowledge the passing of Devoyd Jennings, D. Jennings, who has served this community for many, many years, and most recently as president and CEO of the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. Dee was a good friend. He's a guy who really had an impact on this community in a lot of different ways. A graduate of I.M. Terrell High School from that era when I.M. Terrell had a phenomenal group of educators and produced many, many leaders for the community that have served us here in Fort Worth for decades. Dee worked a long time for Texas Electric Service Company and community relations for the company, and that's probably where I first got to know him. But I got to know him better while I was mayor and involved in a lot of different things involving the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber. Interestingly, while I chaired the board for the North Texas Tollway Authority a few years ago, Dee agreed to serve on our Diversity Advisory Committee for NTTA and led us through a period of time when we took minority contracting from virtually zero up to in the 30% range for both construction and professional services. That committee did phenomenal work. Dee chaired that committee. It was a committee with representatives from all over the four major counties, Dallas, Tarrant, Denton, and Collin. And he really led that effort. He attended Tarrant County College, got a bachelor's degree from Texas Wesleyan University. I just think it's important for us to acknowledge somebody that has had as many positive impacts on this community as Dee had. We will miss him.
Thank you very much for those remarks. Dee Jennings was a friend of everyone here in the city of Fort Worth. I had an opportunity to hear him speak at an event, and he talked about that the impact of the virus and everything that was going on, that it was, even though there was talk of a recession, it was really more of a depression, especially for those that were small business owners, because they were impacted more heavily than others. So he was a true champion. So thank you for those words as well. Mr. Kine?
Good evening. Some of you on the board may or may not know this, but I have three young children who are now on day 3 of their return to school. And they have been coming home telling me that they've written a lot about what they've done over their summer vacations. So I thought that as a newly elected trustee, I also would share what I did over my summer vacation, respective to TCC. I definitely welcomed the summer break from board meetings, but I really tried to take the opportunity to learn more about Tarrant County College and the district, as well as the legacy of impact that the district has had and its transformational leadership in the community. I was pleased to attend the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce annual meeting on June 4th, along with fellow trustees, Mr. Barr, Mr. Greenhill, and Mr. Hornsby. And it was very evident that TCC's impact in the community was well demonstrated at the meeting. I was also very grateful for the opportunity to meet so many staff members at that event. There were lots in attendance, so that was a great meeting for me to be a part of. Also, at the invitation of Dr. Morrison, my daughter, Libby, who's 12 years old, and I attended the Fort Worth celebration of Opal Lee, hosted by the Fort Worth African American leaders on July 18th, and Mr. Hornsby was there. What a profound honor it was to be able to hear about the lifetime impact that Mrs. Lee has made on our community. Dr. Morrison has shared that a couple of times in this forum, but I was very appreciative to be able to see that in person. And that was an opportunity that probably wouldn't have come my way if it had not been for the invitation from Dr. Morrison. So thank you very much for that. It was also a wonderful opportunity for my 12-year-old to be able to see the importance and influence of our Black female leaders across Tarrant County. That was certainly evident at that event. So thank you, Dr. Morrison, for inviting me and for sharing an experience with Libby that she's still talking about even a month later. These first 3 months of service to Tarrant County College and the district have truly been a blessing to me and to my family, and I continue to thank all of the residents of District 3 for the opportunity to serve, and to all of you to serve alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kine. We appreciate the comments. That was an excellent event. Mr. Hornsby?
Good evening, everyone, and to President and to Dr. Giovannini and my fellow board members. It was a great event. As Mr. Kine has said, we were there at those events. I also had the awesome privilege on last weekend to attend the dedication of the Reby Carey Youth Library on East Lancaster. And Reby Carey was an awesome man, one of the first African-American instructors here at Tarrant County College way back in the day. He was a state representative. He was an educator in the public school system. He just did a whole lot of different things. His daughter was there. She made some wonderful comments about his expectations for her as they were growing up. So it was a great representation there of city officials, city council members, police chief, superintendent of Fort Worth ISD. The library is awesome. It's kid-friendly. It's a youth library. If you haven't been there on East Lancaster, you really ought to go and take your children, your grandchildren, and just let them look at the books. They have toys. They have all kinds of things in there. They have STEM bags that were ready to go. STEM, they call them STEM to-go bags, clear bags with a lot of different things in them. You could check those out and take them for your kid. It was just a youth-friendly, the furniture, everything, and colorful, bright, open. It's really a nice monument to Reby Carey and to the community of leaders that have put that together and built that place. So it was a great honor to be part of that on last Saturday over on East Lancaster here in Fort Worth, as well as the events that Mr. Kine has already said that I was a part of. And I'm looking forward to visiting all of the campuses within the next couple of months since students and things are back where I'll be helping. They're going to help us get a schedule so that we can go and visit all of the campuses and be a part of, see and be a part of what's going on the campuses, especially Southeast Campus where I'm assigned, kind of, sort of. Thank you, President.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Glad you mentioned that about Mr. Carey. His legacy certainly is synonymous with education and reading and learning, so thank you for that. Dr. Morrison? Hi there.
Thank you, Ms. McGriff. I'm happy to join you. I am in a public area of a local healthcare institution and where people are requested to wear masks. So since I am in a public area, I'm going to keep my mask on, but I wanted to say that I know faculty staff have had a busy week and as they have come back to campus. And I will share something that my mom said would tell me often, or I would hear her say often as I was growing up. You have to have some sense for yourself. So, wear your mask, 1 or 2. I'm vaccinated. I hope you are too. My husband has already asked, when do we get the booster? He's ready. And so make some good decisions for yourself, for your family, and for the rest of the world. I remember reading an essay by Francis Bacon many years ago. I think it said something like, your freedom ends where mine begins, or my freedom ends where yours begins. So I just add that in impromptu. It is so important, the work that we do and the people that we serve. And I take that on as a personal mission every day. In the encounters that I have, whether they are here and in several of the healthcare facilities that I'm having to be in, or in the grocery store, people are concerned, and as they should be. And so my real point was to talk about Mr. Carey, but Mr. Hornsby did such a great job of that. And he was the first, it's been documented, African-American hired in an instructional role at TCC. And that summer, that year, there were several outstanding African-Americans that were hired to begin the staff at TCC, Tarrant County Junior College. The other 2 that I can remember was Mr. Mitchell McEwing and Mr. A. Washington. But so we have a rich legacy here at TCC, and our challenge is to live beyond the legacy. We can't just do what we've always done. We have to exceed that legacy. And I can hear Mr. Carey giving us that lesson. Anytime you had a chance to sit at his kitchen table or and that was at the celebration, I believe, of his 90th birthday on TCC South, where we celebrated with some South Campus students. And he, of course, anytime you sat with him, he gave you a history lesson and a challenge. And so I'm extending that today to say thanks for the sacrifices everybody has made and the great service you've made while we're away from campus. Exude a little kindness as you come back to campus. Be kind to yourself and other people. And let's just try to get along. I know we have to maintain flexibility because things will never be the way they were. We'll never be the way we were exactly. And we have to be prepared to accommodate each other with grace and with integrity and kindness. So I probably won't be doing a lot of getting out to the campuses, but I'm only an email away and I respond to them readily. So I do look forward to interacting with each and every campus and with all of you. And thank you, Ms. Ayala, for this opportunity to say hello and to greet everyone. And thank you for the great job you're doing, Ms. Ayala. You're very intentional about your leadership, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Dr. Morrison. We appreciate your work, and we appreciate you representing us out in the district and your message as well. Ms. Wood? Hello, Ms. Wood?
I'm sorry,
That's
I couldn't get
okay.
it off
We
mute.
can see you now. Hi there.
I was trying to get it off mute the whole time.
That's
So
quite all right.
anyway, it's quite a pleasure to be here today. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I just wanted to tell everybody I look forward to seeing you soon and welcoming all the new students on campus. I think it's going to be a fabulous school year, and I look forward to seeing you all. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure that we also recognized everyone that has been successfully supporting these back-to-school events. TCC has been very active in providing supplies, bags, all sorts of things, pencils and things like that. And I know that campuses have been hosting students as well. So thank you for that. We really do appreciate that. So I want to recognize everyone for your efforts. And I know that, Mr. Gates, your office has been very helpful in coordinating all of that. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. Also, we want to acknowledge all of those who participated in the all-employee gathering yesterday. It was a very, very well attended. The speaker was amazing, remarkable. She gave some very good insights, some tools, just some points that I think that would apply to daily life as well as in work. So thank you very much, Chancellor, for your greeting and also for acknowledging the employees and all the work that they've done. It's been a very difficult year, and we just appreciate every single one of you. Also wanted to acknowledge Dr. Carlos Morales. Yes, Dr. Carlos Morales, president of TCC Connect, recently presented to leaders from more than 30 community organizations. He presented at the historic Rose Marine Theater in North Fort Worth. Dr. Morales highlighted programs and opportunities for students and, of course, the online college. The session generated a lot of buzz and even greater support of TCC as the organization's committed to further promoting TCC and its mission through their members and networks. So thank you to Dr. Morales for stepping up to help with this effort. Unless anyone has any other comments, we'll go ahead and continue with our agenda. Item number 4, consideration and approval of the consent agenda. We have all had an opportunity to ask questions pertinent to these items. The trustees have had opportunities to get clarifications on things in advance, and so I want to thank the staff members and everyone that's involved in preparing all of this for the meeting. So does anyone have any particular questions? If not, I do have one question for item number 4. N as in Nancy, Ms. Bracken, if you don't mind. Yes, thank you. I know that you spoke in detail about these agreements that we're going to have with these attorneys. And so one of the notes that I had here was I know that these are going to be specialized areas that they're providing some support to the college, but I was just curious as to whether or not the MWBE goals that we have set for the college would also flow down to the subcontractors that these attorneys may use. Do you know if that's...
Generally speaking, the attorneys that we engage to do services for us do not subcontract below.
Okay.
We contract with a particular law firm, and the expectation is that they will provide the service that we contract for.
Okay. All right. There was just a reference in here that from time to time they may need to subcontract vendors for specific, like court reporters and things like that. So I just didn't know if if they were held to the same standards as far as the MWBE standards that we have.
Generally speaking, we have asked that all of our attorneys that do provide services are aware of our MWBE goals and that they make every effort to comply with those on the really very rare occasion. And it is, really, court reporters is about the only
Okay,
thing that we have them
okay,
do.
great. Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval.
Okay, Dr. Barr, I've just given you a promotion. Mr. Barr?
I second it.
Okay. Mr. Greenhill has second.
I am a doctor,
Dr. Greenhill, there we go.
just a lawyer. I'm sorry.
Okay, so now we've entertained a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much for that. We'll go on to item number 5, consideration and approval of individual action items. 5A, consideration and approval of contract with Infinity Contractors International LTD for the rooftop air conditioning unit replacement project at the District Multipurpose Center in the amount of $112,000.10.
Yes,
Ms. Alanis.
this is a scheduled replacement of our air conditioning unit at our Riverside facility that houses our real estate and facilities team. It's a 1994 installation that we're replacing.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Ms. Alanis? I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Dr. Morrison, yes? And
Second.
Move approval.
I've got Dr. Morrison and who seconded? Oh, Mr. Hornsby second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go on to 5B, consideration and approval of agreement with Texas Air Systems for equipment purchase for chiller expansion project on the Southeast Campus in the amount of $968,000.
Yes, so this is, again, a routine replacement of part of our infrastructure for our facilities. One thing I want to point out is that we substituted the attachment this time. I wasn't quick enough on my feet last week to discern the difference between this and the other ones that we had modified the bid tabulations. In this instance, it was an invitation to bid because it was equipment only, and so it was not evaluated as best value. It was evaluated on price. But what we did do is we updated to include the prices of the two responses that we received. One was non-responsive. They were neck and neck in terms of price, but one was considered non-responsive because they bid a different product than we had. But going forward, we don't do straight bids very often, but when we do, we'll make sure that we include this revised template for the attachment.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Move
Make-
approval.
Dr. Morrison,
Second,
second
Bill Greenhill.
from Bill Greenhill. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you for that. Consideration and approval of the amendment to the agreement with Jacobs Project Management Company for asset management support related to the 2019 bond program in an amount not to exceed $2,040,610.
Yeah, so what we talked about last week is that this is sort of a foundational best practice for organizations running a large facility complex like we do. We've got nearly 100 buildings, obviously across 5 campuses, and the complexity of managing that and all of the integrated systems is great. And the intent is to do a facility condition assessment that hasn't been done fully in more than 10 years. But beyond that, to prepare the organization to support an asset management, facility management program over the long term. That's one of the areas that organizations often fail, and they get the facility condition assessment conducted, but they don't set up the organization to absorb into the way they do business to manage using an asset management program. So that is what is intended by this. One of the things that we sent out to you at the request of a board member was a breakdown of the cost. And you can see that the facility condition assessment is labor intensive in terms of the number of people that are involved on the short end. On the asset management program, the duration of that is what you'll see reflected in the price there, that it's a number of people over a longer period of time, basically a staff augmentation to stand up that program and get it running for us.
Thank you, Ms. Alanis. I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Does anyone else have any questions they have? Okay. I know we've talked a lot about this when facility, particularly around the facility condition assessment, and I know that you talked about what this information gathering exercise will do for us. I think it's going to be really to make sure we capture from a cradle to grave, I guess, right, assessment of all of these assets. But one of the questions that I had as I read through, and thank you for the additional information that you provided to us, I think that this is an exercise that needs to be done. And so I saw that you broke it down into phases, that there's the facility condition assessment first, and then we do a comprehensive review and assessment, right, of, I guess it's the scoping of it. And I wondered if once we identified those two steps, whether or not we could potentially look at doing the third step at another time, and maybe we come back and revisit it and see whether or not, because then we would have a better idea of what the scope of work is before we commit to the, whatever it was, extra $1.2 million to do the actual work. So I wanted to find out what the possibility is of doing that approach.
Sure. So this isn't intended to be entirely sequential. Some of the work was going to overlap in terms of us, selecting a software and also doing the facility condition assessment. If it would make the board more comfortable, certainly we could approve the first two parts of this and get us started, and we could come back with a fuller report before we have the staff augmentation to carry us to the end. We'd be happy to do that.
Well, it's one of the things that I want to make sure of is we look at and explore this ERP system down the line, that we are not locked into something specific until we know, right? So if we have an idea of what our scope is, what kind of assets, then maybe we could look at that, revisit that at some point. I realize that, this may happen in sequence, but I just wanted to see if that was an option.
Sure. And I will also add that this is not, while we will do an integration to our ERP system to be able to record the financial value of our assets for our financial statements, all of this effort is necessary and important to the organization to run our facilities, aside and apart from anything that's happening with the ERP.
Right.
So they can happen concurrently without any risk of us,
Yes.
missing some opportunity. But
Right. Well, I would feel, myself would feel most comfortable with maybe looking at determining what the scope of work is before we commit to seeing what the staff needs and things are. But again, I wanted to ask your opinion as to whether or not that's feasible, if that would work for us.
we will make that work if that's what the board is most comfortable with. Yeah.
Dr. Giovannini? You're fine with that? How do we do that,
Well,
Ms.?
If it's
Go ahead.
appropriate, I'll make a motion to approve action item 5C, items 1 and 2, phases 1 and 2, I guess we could say, of that item.
For an amount of $787,352. Just to put it in the record.
I'll trust
Yeah.
your math.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Are you-
fine with that.
You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
So you put
I'll
the
make a motion to that effect.
Okay. A motion, an amended motion. Does anyone want to second that?
Second.
Okay.
Madam
Second by-
President,
Second by Mr.
Point.
Greenhill. Yes, does someone have a question?
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is whether or not we need to have that amended recommendation from staff before we make the amended motion.
So
That's a good question. Hold on just a second. Dr. Morrison, go ahead.
Yeah, so my opinion is that we put together a package to make us, to poise us for success in terms of setting up an asset management program that includes having that team help us develop over time how we're going to integrate it into the way that we do business. Certainly, we can break it into two parts if that makes the board more comfortable, but we've put forward a recommendation that we're comfortable with as well. And certainly, if any of the hours that are contemplated here are not needed at the end as we work our way through the program, then we won't spend those dollars. But this is how we've costed it out at this point.
I do have a question.
Yes.
On the original motion, where, I guess, a point of clarification, where are we in the motion versus the amendment? And the response to that will then inform whether or
The
not I
next
need to
step
ask
will
my
be
question.
to either approve or
Or-
not approve the
motion,
second motion.
the second motion, right. So we
I
would vote
think,
on.
I'm
or
not the parliamentarian,
approve.
but
It's
that
not
make
a
sense?
second motion, it's a first.
We've had a motion and a second, and we would have to vote on that, correct? Ms., okay.
Can I offer
Sorry.
clarification? There was only one motion, and it was for an amended action, not an amended motion. So there's one motion and one second out there right now for an amended action.
Yes, and my question is the motion for an amended action appropriate? I'm concerned that it's not. That's my question, and that's my concern.
With all due respect, I believe it is totally appropriate for this board to take what action it wants to based on the items that's been presented to us. I don't, Ms. Bracken,
Ms.
I don't
Bracken,
believe
let
there's
it- We'll ask Ms. Bracken for,
anything that
Dr.
precludes
Morrison.
the board modifying an action item that's presented to it.
That's correct.
That's correct, Mr. Barr. If the board wishes to make a motion that's amended from the staff recommendation, that's appropriate.
Are you clear on what my motion was?
It is a first motion to,
There is one motion.
there is one motion in place, and it is to approve a portion of the recommendation, the staff recommendation. And that has been
That portion
seconded.
being, okay.
The first
the
two
first
parts.
two parts of it.
Correct.
Did that,
Which, just for clarification, so it's the Cameron assessment plus the asset inventory and condition assessment portion for a total of $787,352. What I would suggest is that at the conclusion of that facilities condition assessment, we would come back to the board, report out how that went, and then we can continue on with the project if the board is comfortable.
That's correct.
I think that's, because that, part of that is going to determine the scope of the work. Is that correct, Ms. Alanis?
I don't know that I would describe it that way. I think that we know that we've got to organizationally prepare for utilizing the information that will come from that, and the scope is clear. It's setting up a program to be able to use the information to manage our facilities. But there's nothing wrong with the touch point midway through before we proceed with the rest of the
Okay.
program,
Okay.
if so desired.
Ms. Ayala, I just want to make one other point. I think this is a good idea, and I think we need to do it. My concern is the amount of money that's involved, and I think if we do the first two steps, along with what the president said, we'll be in a better position to figure what the next steps are after that.
Sure.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
now may I ask my question?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Ms. Alanis, you did mention earlier that this work is not always sequential, and that there are often, or now I'm making inferences, but I guess I'm pulling out some of your earlier response, that it is possible that there would be asset management support that might occur concurrently with some of the other work that's being done. So I think my question to you is, when you and your staff brought this forward as 3 buckets together, is there any concern that you will lose some efficiency, or that the timeline will be drawn out, or that it may become more expensive simply because we're taking a pause after steps 1 and 2?
So it's possible that the timeline will be drawn out a little bit, because we'll, in terms of them advising how to structure our organization to be prepared to use the information, will be delayed. The only consequence of that is that the better information we have, as well as the organizational structure that we have, the better decisions we'll be making over time as we invest in our capital. And so, is what the true consequence of that is, I don't know. I mean, this still puts us 6 months out from coming back to you and letting you know the results of our facility condition assessment, which is the most critical starting place. And we'll continue with our internal team, as well as Jacobs, who's helping us on a variety of other things, to do what we can to be prepared for the conclusion of that, while this is underway. So, yeah, we're committed to make it work either way.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Ms. DeKine. Did we answer your question, Dr. Morrison, as well?
Yes, based on the ruling of the attorney, yes, it was answered.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. Mr. Kine, any other further questions or clarifications? Anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second. So now we have to vote. Is that correct, Ms. Larkin? Okay. All in favor of the amended motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'm sorry, Ms. Yala,
Yes.
please record me as voting no on that motion.
Yes. Okay, Dr. Morrison voted nay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me, just to set the record straight, that was not an amended motion, that was the first, that
The
was
first
the only
motion.
motion.
That's right.
Yeah.
The first motion. Thank you very much. Anything
So
else?
to be utterly correct,
Yes,
it was a motion on amended recommendation.
motion on
Because
amended
board
recommendation. That's
suggested-
correct.
Amended action.
It's not
The
amended.
board
recommendation.
suggested an amendment to the recommendation, and the staff agreed with it. Therefore, the board took a vote on an amended recommendation. I make that point because I want to remind all of us, board is not supposed to make statutorily, it's what I've always been told, to make take a vote on an item without staff recommendation. And that may not be what other people understand, but that's always what I've been recommended and told. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Dr. Morrison. So
Now-
duly noted. Okay. Does anyone else have any? Okay. All right, we'll go on to the next item, 5D, consideration and approval of TCC's
Thank you.
fiscal year 2021, 2022 insurance renewals with McGriff, Seibels, and Williams, Inc., Roach, Howard, Smith, and Barton, and Higginbotham in an amount not to exceed $2,358,977.57.
So we covered this extensively last time about the pressures that we're facing in our insurance premiums related to property and casualty because of property losses around the state as well as cybersecurity. This is sort of a worst-case scenario because we're still placing the insurance. We're getting some reasonably less bad news, I guess, around cybersecurity premiums. But so this will be the maximum that we would spend, but it's our annual renewals of all of our lines of insurance.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Alanis?
Move approval.
Okay, Dr.
I make a
Morrison.
second to do that.
Second by Mr. Greenhill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We'll go on to 5E, annual review and approval of TCCD's investment policy and strategy, mineral investment policy, investment advisory agreement with PFM Asset Management LLC to be assigned to U.S. Bancorp Asset Management up to $235,000 annually for fiscal year investment brokers list.
So-
Fiscal year 22, I'm sorry, investment brokers list. Sorry about that.
So the board has been actively working on our investment policies over the last couple of years, including the mineral policy that was finalized last year, the work that you were presented in June related to the board's or the college's investment policy, and this will adopt both of those as required annually. One of the objectives in doing so was going to allow us to identify a core portfolio that's not needed for liquidity that will allow us to extend the terms and duration of some of our investments and hopefully improve the performance that we're seeing within the bounds of the Public Funds Investment Act. This also does the annual approval of the brokers list, which now aligns with PFM and engages PFM to actively manage that core portfolio with a maximum amount for fees there associated with how much we place with them, which will vary over time because it'll include sort of those core dollars that we don't need as well as an analysis of our bond proceeds that we have at any given time and the cash flow required for those. So this also allows us to assign the contract to the firm that they are currently in the process of being assumed by.
Okay, thank you for that. Questions? Ms. Alanis, I do have a question. I read in there that they're going to be giving a monthly report
Yes.
on this. Would it be possible that we could have a schedule at some point that you deem appropriate to do a presentation to the board, to just so we can get a
Sure.
mindset on where they are and how they're performing and strategies and things like that.
Yes, we'd be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I'm honored to make a resolution to approve this, to approve the motion.
I second it.
Okay, Mr. Greenhill and seconded by Mr. Hornsby. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Consideration and approval of job order contract trades pool and spend parameters for fiscal year 2022.
Yeah, so this is another effort that we've had underway for more than a year to update our procurement policies, which includes the usage of pools for trades and general contractors and such that we've been coming back to incrementally to allow us to engage folks in an efficient manner for projects, capital projects that we may not have anticipated. And so we went through a solicitation process, and this is the pool of those vendors that will be available for that purpose.
Okay, questions or comments for Ms. Alanis? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Ms. DeKine and seconded by Mr. Barr. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Consideration and approval of expenditure authority through cooperative agreements, state contracts, library purchases, and interlocal agreements for various commodities and service for fiscal year 2022.
So beginning last year, for the purpose of transparency, we brought to you a summary of the commodities that we purchase on a recurring basis for small incremental amounts, that we generally use state contracts or other interlocal agreements for the purpose of complying with state statute for competitive purposes. And so this is continuing that effort to share with you the spend limits and based on our history for those purposes and with those vendors.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Greenhill, a second, please.
I second the motion.
Second by Mr. Hornsby. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to 5H, consideration and approval of first renewal amendment for district-wide custodial services with ABM Texas General Services, Inc., for an annual amount up to $5,439,950.52.
Yeah, so this is just a continuation of the service that we've had in place for the last couple of years, the first renewal of that agreement to keep all of our facilities clean. As we talked about last week, the enhanced cleaning that we had procured through them for during COVID, those contracts are expiring. This does allow some allowance for the need for that if necessary as we proceed through the upcoming year.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Alanis? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Greenhill, the motion, a second.
Second.
Ms. DeKine, seconded by Ms. DeKine. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. 5I, consideration and approval of resolution approving the operating budgets and capital budgets of the Tarrant County College District for the fiscal year beginning September 1st, 2021. Dr. Giovannini.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. First, I'd like to thank the board for their continued interest and engagement over the recent months in what you have before us this evening, and that's the resolution to approve an operating budget, a capital budget for the district, and with the fiscal year of beginning September 1, 2021, and ending August 31, 2022, including an allocation to pay debt service requirements on the outstanding indebtedness, and allocating funds for the purpose of enacting the fiscal year 2022 capital improvement plan, setting tuition and approving salary, schedule and increases, and delegating administrative authority for contracts and certain fees. And specifically, call your attention to the approval of the budget in 5 different funds. Fund 10 in the amount of $384,568,757. That is the operating fund. Fund 20, which is auxiliary enterprises, in the amount of $8,546,000. Fund 40, which is, as we know, is the pay-as-you-go capital fund, for $24,387,401. Fund 50, which satisfies our debt service, at $17,899,544. And then our actual capital improvement fund, Fund 90, our bond program, next year's expenditures of $133,322,141. That would be the budget part of the resolution. The tuition and fees setting, as in district at $64 a credit hour, out of district at $126 a credit hour, out of state at $305 a credit hour, and non-resident rate of $305. And I do want to take note, this will be the 4th year in a row in which the institution has not raised its tuition. In addition, this will also grant the Chancellor or his designee to be delegated authority to establish non-credit tuition and fees. And this also allows for employees to receive a 4% across-the-board pay increase, and that salary schedule will be adjusted accordingly, and to establish the lowest entry-level pay to be $15 per hour. And then finally, for the Chancellor to have the authority to set individual salaries and sign employment contracts.
Any questions or comments?
No, I would move to approve this item, and I want to commend the Chancellor and the staff that has worked on this. We had a budget workshop. I appreciated it. I think it was beneficial to the board to have that. I know you all put a lot of time in preparing for it, but I think it's helped the board understand this budget. So with that, those comments, I move approval of item 5I.
Okay.
I second it, and I would like to also say that the Chancellor took the time to meet with, or gave us all the opportunity to meet with him personally, and I believe most of us did meet with the Chancellor personally to answer questions and concerns that we individually had about the budget, and I really appreciate the Chancellor's time and effort to get us through this process. Thank you very much, Mr. Chancellor, and I second it.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Barr and a second by Mr. Greenhill. So we'll go ahead and, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We have a budget. Thank y'all. Yay. Okay. Does anyone else have any comments that they wanted to
For
share
August 31st.
before we moved on? Ms. Wood or Dr. Morrison, either one of you have any comments before we move on?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I would just
But I
like to,
appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Mr. Hornsby.
I just would like to echo Mr. Barr and Mr. Greenhill for thanking the Chancellor for taking the time out, especially for me as a new board member with so big a numbers, and to stop your head from swimming, because he sat down and explained them to you in a way that you could hear them. I'm not used to hearing numbers that big. So it was really, really grateful, not only the workshop, but he took us individually and sat down with us and allowed us to ask questions and look at the things and get a good understanding. So I really appreciated that as a new board member.
Thank you, Mr. Hornsby. Yes, Chancellor, thank you very much as well, and staff and leadership, everyone involved in this effort. It really was a collaboration, and feedback from everyone was very much appreciated, especially when it comes to stewarding our resources and effectively and making sure that we're still never losing focus of why we're here. So thanks to everyone, and we appreciate, took a lot of sacrifices and it was a lot of preparation. So as we embark on the next school year, let's just move forward together, because together we're better. So, all right, Chancellor, we'll keep going on to the next item.
I have one quick question.
Yes, Dr. Morrison.
I don't require an answer tonight, but I would like an answer in terms of Do we really have anybody making $15 an hour? I would like to know. And what positions those are and how many.
I can give you a broad stroke of, in the assessment of that, we had 340 individuals who will be infected by this. 90 of those individuals, if you were to factor in a 4% increase, will go over the $15 an hour, or at least meet the minimum $15 an hour or go over it. That left 250 individuals who will, in essence, receive more than a 4% increase to get them to that $15 an hour. What are the job titles? I don't have those off the top of my head.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that information and thank you for taking care of that. And just for edification of the other board members, you all got by easy because at one time, the board used to look at these by categories in terms of entry level and top level. So you got an easy pass on it today. Thank you, Chancellor.
Thank you, Dr. Morrison, and we hope to keep it easy. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Okay, we'll go on to 5J, consideration and approval of a resolution setting the proposed rate of 13.017 cents per $100 of assessed valuation for the levy and collection of an annual ad valorem tax on all property within the boundaries of the Tarrant County College District on January 1st, 2020. That's you, Dr.
Yes,
Chip
thank you,
Haney.
Ms. Ayala. Specifically, the resolution will be establishing the proposed 2021 ad valorem tax rate of 0.13017 per $100 in valuation, and that would be divided as 0.122081 for operations and maintenance and 0.008089 for interest and sinking fund, directing the Chancellor to schedule, and also directing the Chancellor to schedule a public hearing and publish a notice required by the state statute to adopt the tax levy that I indicated, and designating Wendy Burgess, tax collector assessor, as the officer responsible for calculating the no new revenue rate and the voter approved rate for Tarrant County College District. So specifically, again, this rate will not change again for a third year. The rate itself is actually 0.3 of 1 penny less than what the college has the authority to levy and collect. That third of a 0.3 of a cent actually amounts to $6.79 million that the district will not levy and will not collect, but certainly would have been entitled to do so. So that it speaks well for the governing board of being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Giovannini. Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
And
Yes.
as I move, I'd also like to echo my colleagues' comments from before about the work that was put into educating the board, to the staff, to putting this together. As equally as important as the fact that this will not increase the tax rate in 3 years, I'm looking forward to the messaging that goes along with that to our Tarrant County residents, because I think that that's a very important notion to understand, and it certainly, it being tax rates is not a simple topic to understand. So I'm very grateful for the work put behind this, and am looking forward to the work that is still to be done to let our voters know that this is a huge accomplishment for the district.
Thank you, Mr. Kine, and thank you for the motion.
Second the motion.
Second, Mr. Hornsby. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, monthly financial report, Ms. Alanese.
we're nearing the end of the fiscal year, and so this is through the month of July, and we've collected nearly 100% of the income that we had anticipated. And as you're aware, we are above what we were budgeted for property tax by about $7 million. We are less than we had budgeted for tuition by about $5 million, so it nets out to some degree. We're ahead of where we were last year on property tax. In terms of total expenses, you can see that we're only at 81% of our expenditures. We're going to probably make a substantial contribution to fund balance this year as a result of some of the savings for the way we've operated in a modified way over the last year with COVID in particular. Some of the outstanding encumbrances, we're still working on whether those will materialize based on delivery schedules of things that have been ordered and technology and those kinds of things. And so we'll have a fuller report next month.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, clarifications for Ms. Alanis? Okay.
So in terms of the investment recap, this is the last, well, maybe not the last time, there may be one more month as we transition, but where you'll see our focus on the weighted average maturity that at one point was intended to be 100 days or less with the short duration of the investments and a large part of our portfolio and pools. We will revamp this over time as we work with PFM to reflect the work that they'll be doing as we modify our investment strategy with our core portfolio. But you can see we continue to have the low yields that you would anticipate from the kinds of things that we're invested in. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Alanis? Clarifications?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have C, minerals account, okay, we've gotten that, okay. Chancellor's report, 7.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. Dr. LeBlanc has a new staff member introduction. Hello.
Good evening. I am very pleased to announce Dr. Demicia Raso as Director of College Access and Readiness, Title V. Dr. Raso will become the inaugural Director of College Access and Readiness, Title V, Hispanic Serving Institution Grant Project. As Director of College Access and Readiness, Dr. Raso will lead the day-to-day operations of TCCD's Title V project and will focus on leveraging project resources to support the college's efforts to improve programming and practice focused on students' college, career, and life readiness. Dr. Raso has over 20 years of experience in higher education, which includes an extensive background in research, educational leadership, student development, success, diversity, and equity. Dr. Raso has been an advocate and ally for students, equity, and justice throughout her career. She has collaborated with colleagues and leadership to design professional development programs, foster safe, inclusive learning environments for students, and update policy and procedures to better serve faculty, staff, and students. Dr. Raso also has experience utilizing qualitative and quantitative data, current research, and assessment to improve student success and retention. Dr. Raso was born in Lyons, Kansas, attended part of her elementary school years in Saudi Arabia, graduated from high school in Seminole, Texas, and as a result of all this moving, she is demonstrated her ability to adapt. Dr. Raso earned her PhD in higher education at the University of North Texas. She has a master's degree in college personnel services from Ohio University and a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science from St. Edward's University. Please help me welcome Dr. Demicia Raso. She was 12 when she started in higher ed. I just want to point that out.
So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I have worked in higher ed a long time and in different kinds of institutions, and by far the community college is my favorite that I've ever worked in, and particularly working at Tarrant County College, the ability that you have to change the course of not only a student, but their whole family structure is just so impactful. And so I'm really excited about getting to work on this grant and all the good things it's going to do for our students and for our community and improving outcomes. So I just thank you for this opportunity.
Great. Welcome, Dr. Rosso. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. As you note in the back of your packet, there are a number of college accolades again this month, a lot of individual, departmental, campus opportunities to celebrate, if you will. I want to highlight a few of those, which I think are somewhat unique, and call those out. We had 35 students participate in the inaugural Biomedical Opportunities Academy, and this program is to inspire young, underrepresented students to learn about human diseases and treatments and to explore and envision their careers in medicine. There was an overwhelming interest to be part of this academy. 860 applications were received, and 35 were chosen. Participants were required to have more than 30 college hours completed, either at TCC or early college high school student, and submit an essay detailing their aspirations. So certainly unique and quite an opportunity for individuals to explore the medical field. Second, the college is one of 5 charter members of the League of Innovation Online Course Sharing Consortium, and that's a new national network of 2-year colleges. This is the TCC's second online course sharing partnership. The college participates in the Digital Higher Education Consortium of Texas, known as Digitex. And through that, 18 Texas community colleges share online courses. That, along with the League of Innovation Course Sharing Consortium, is to be believed to be the first organized course sharing among community college across the entire country. And we're involved in both of those. And again, there's just a small number within the league, 6 or 7, I think. So again, being a leader in online education and having an opportunity to offer our programs in courses across the country online. And lastly, I want to pleased to announce that TCC was recognized in 2 categories by the .com Awards, which is administered through the Association of Marketing and Communications Professionals. Specifically, the college won an award in the Digital Marketing and Communication Campaign. That was a gold award. Just 13% of all entries received gold in that category. And secondly, the Reach magazine received a platinum recognition, and only 13% of all entries received a platinum recognition. So there are thousands of applicants that's put in for these awards. And again, I think you've heard this before, the college has done quite well in the arena of marketing and advertising and communications, and again, recognized nationally. There was no exercise of the COVID authority that you had given me again this month at 7D, so you will not see anything listed there. In closing, I'd like to also extend a great thanks to the staff in the preparation of the budget. This began really in February probably, and so a lot of activity, a lot of involvement goes into this, and greatly appreciate that work. So that what you had seen, my ability to meet with you and chat with you intelligently about this is only due to the staff preparation of the documents, of establishing of the budget. So thank you very much. And also on behalf of the faculty and staff of the college, I want to thank the governing board for the salary increase. They'll be greatly appreciated. I've had the opportunity to get around to all the campuses this week, except for South. I'll be there tomorrow. And it's really invigorating to see the excitement on the staff to be back. It's across the board and really up to the task. Certainly knows there's going to be some challenges, some difficulties, some ambiguity, but working together to provide some clear, concise guidance as to how we move forward coming back. I can say unequivocally that without a doubt, folks are very eager to be back and very eager and up to that challenge. So I want to thank them very much for that. Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Yes. All right.
Ms. Ayala,
Yes,
could, I would, in reading through the accolades earlier,
Yes.
the Chancellor just talked about the Biomedical Opportunities Academy, where we actually had about 5% of the participation of the people that applied. Is that something that's planned to be done annually?
The program annually, I believe so. Whether we can increase it or not, I'm not. That's what
Well, I think we ought to explore it. Opportunities like that really help young people understand what the potential is, and I just think that's a great education opportunity, and if we can expand it, we ought to figure out how to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thanks, everyone, for all of your efforts throughout this past year, and we look forward to this start of this new school year. The board appreciates you, and we believe in us and the possibilities that we can do. So thanks to each and every one of you. We don't have a closed session tonight, Ms. Bracken? Okay, all right, so the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Greenhill, and second by Mr. Hornsby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. We'll adjourn. Thank you. We'll see you all in September.
I'm so glad we had this time.